This conference will now be recorded.
Yep. We started a bit late. This is the month of June, and I would like to share my screen. Okay, share this one. Too many screens. Okay, let me move this out. Okay, can you see the OCP NIC community update slide? I hope so.
Yes, I see your screen.
Great. So for this month, today, there's a couple of agenda. First one, I would like to talk about the virtual global summit that we just held. I think it's pretty good, better than I expected. And then I would like to announce there are some mechanical updates in the slide. And while Summit unable to join us today, he provided a signal integrity update regarding the PCI Gen 5 and some of the milestones. And last but not least, we do have a working session next Tuesday. So I'll talk some more things about it. Move to the first agenda. So the Virtual Global Summit, we had the workshop session. We have 11 of them. For those who miss it, the presentation is still available on demand. You will not have a Q&A, but the names of the speakers are listed in the site. So if you really have something very strong about what you want to ask, go ahead and ping the speakers about it. The second one is like to talk about is our experience lab booth. We have 440 unique visitors, which I think is pretty great. Well, being competitive, I actually would like to know how many others actually have it, but I don't have those information. But I think 440 is a pretty good number. And then I'm very proud of our team here that, well, at least in the chat, I saw at some time the ratio to the volunteers versus the booth moderator are actually more than the participant itself. So we have a lot of volunteers, and I really thank both April and Elad that really the team together and our volunteers to submit that gives a time into making this a success. And I actually put our duty roster here for the moderators that you can see every hour we have like 2 persons from different companies volunteering being the moderator of the group. And this is not only that, we also have the external chat that our experts and also external reach out person will be there to answer any questions that will be too hard for the moderator to answer directly. Some of the questions are very specific. So overall, I think we have a lot of support for the volunteers, and I would like to thank the volunteers and April and Eli for that. The only thing that I think could be improved that is more like the level of engagement we have with those who attended our booth versus the preparation that we have. One big thing I think, and the team also think, that it could be the chat. The chat are kind of hidden behind, and you need to click to engage, and not a lot of people do so. So that is something that we think that it is possible to improve, and such improvement have been provided by April on behalf of the team to FNTech already. April, anything you want to talk more about the experience lab?
Oh, I think you covered it, but I second you that I really appreciate everybody's participation and all the great videos people put together in the preparation, and taking shifts. I think overall it was a really good success, and I hope that if we do a virtual summit in the future, that kind of the infrastructure will be tweaked a little bit. But I think we were prepared and had some good conversations. So thanks all.
Yep. Thanks all. And the next is more about the Experience Lab video. We have a total 13 videos submitted, and this one I can guarantee that we have the most video because I did visit the other booth and see what's the video that other people have. That yeah, by far we have the most video, and I think the content are very complete. So a great shout out to the Nick 3.0 group here. We have a total of 780 views. And then we have 440 visitors. So on average, people watch 1 to 2 videos. And then I did went through some data and then break down, hey, what video people watch, and some kind of see what are the, maybe I should make this a bigger to make sure that people can see. Yeah. So yeah, I will not go full screen because it will go to another monitor of mine. So the video breakdowns seems to be like the first video that we put on the sequence is the one that built the most. I think there's 2 reasons to that. First of it is the first video. Second of it, if you do nothing, I think it autoplay it after a certain time. So the autoplay and being the first video, and also it is an overview video. I guess if we want to watch one video out of everything before we watch the overview. So I guess that 3 reasons kind of made people why the overview video is like at 44% of the total views. And then the rest, I kind of look into it and why, because I do see that, yeah, it shouldn't have so much difference between the video that view more and view less. Later on, I kind of see, yeah, I finally understand why. Because whenever you log in, you only see 6 to 7 video in your screen. So if you can see, the 6 to 7 video are apparently those who being watched more. Actually, a lot more at the back. You need to scroll, and those being need to scroll, kind of the view rate are much lower. So I think that this is the fundamental reason why the from 9 and below the view rate is lower. It's just because of the interface that doesn't show all the video at one point. So for people that doesn't scroll or doesn't know that actually more video at the back, that's actually what you can present it. So this is something that I think we should feedback for FN Tech, because I think this is a unique problem to our Nick 3.0. I don't see anyone else have more than 7 videos. So this is a unique situation that we face that nobody else does. Yeah, I actually thank the whole group to provide the video and do the recording and coordination by Elad and April on the video, and especially Elad also coordinated the overview video with the team. I actually I like the video very much. And the next agenda will be a mechanical update. We have been searching for a volunteer to create our the Nick 3.0 mechanical keep-in, keep-out test fixture to make sure that the Nick that we receive, the Nick that we develop that actually meet the Nick 3.0 mechanical keep-in, keep-out. Initially, it was gated by some of the mechanical tolerance are not very clear in the spec, which we managed to flush it out during the December time. And then for a couple of months, we have been looking for volunteers who would like to volunteer and get this going. So finally, Facebook, Chris made up his mind and okay, he will do it. So thanks to Chris for volunteering, and he will provide some update regarding this mechanical community fixture in the next week working session. Not sure Jonathan is online, but yeah, but this is Jonathan should know about this. The next item that we'd like to talk about is regarding the signal integrity work group update. So another thing is regarding the signal integrity work group update regarding PCI Gen 5. There is a timeline being proposed by the signal integrity work group. So next week we have a working session for discussion around PCI Gen 5. At this time, Summit don't think that we will have more data point, but it's more like refining our data point, get alignment with the members. That is what the plan for the next week working session. And then by on the next month, on the 7th, this month actually, on the 17th, the SI work group meeting, then they will finalize and recommend one number for the PCI Gen 5, the NIC channel loss candidate. And this candidate will be sent out through the mailing list that we have for review and feedback for 2 weeks. And on July 1st, the intent is to update it in our spec. I heard Thomas, so I'll check one thing with Thomas. So Thomas, today our PCI Gen 3 and Gen 4, we did not mention the loss number in the spec, but more like referring it to the PCIe chem. But given that we are setting a target for PCI Gen 5, how should we proceed and put it in the spec? Or you want to provide a different document? What's your thought about that?
Well, I think once we agree on a value, it might be a good idea to just document the spec. You know, we can make a table that also references Gen 3 and Gen 4, but ultimately the Gen 3 and 4 stuff just cross-references back to those respective specifications. For Gen 5, we're doing something new, so we should document it in our spec.
Yep. Yes, agree.
And that should be the clearest way without having yet another document for people to reference.
Yep. Sounds good. Especially this is specific to NIC.
Yeah. And really, along those sentiments, anything that we've deviated from industry specifications, we've put in the OCP NIC 3.0 spec.
Makes sense. Yeah. So at this time, Samit told me the trend is small form factor and large form factor will have a different spec. The trend for the small form factor is kind of wide, to be frank. It's negative 5.5 to negative 8 dB. It's kind of still pretty wide range. Hopefully in the working session, we can refine more and go closer and closer to a single value. Ultimately, the intent is to have one single value in the spec. So the range is kind of a bit hard for in this kind of spec. And for large form factor, there's only one trend so far, which is basically the following PCIe chem, which is the 9.5 dB. At least that's the trend that the update was given. So for those you like more about 5.5 or you like closer to 8 or anything in between or even out of this range, I recommend that you join the working session to try to pull towards your chem, which is better for you. We have the working session next week. Okay, and that is a good segue into the working session. So next Tuesday, there will be a working session from 8 to 11 PST. I propose to use Zoom because I have been using GoToMeeting, BlueJeans, and Zoom, and so far it appears that Zoom works better for a larger crowd. So let's do that. And why we choose Tuesday is because we do have OCP attendee. So Friday is kind of tough. So I did work with some of the folks that to make sure that you voted for Friday, you actually were able to work on Tuesday. So that's the reason why Tuesday was chosen. And sorry for those in Pacific that it starts 8 a.m. I'm not sure whether it's a little early for those who work from home who have a kid. But this time kind of chosen for the reason of our OCP attendees that so we start a little earlier so they don't have to sleep too late. I do expect some Asia and Israel attendees based on those who accepted the invitation so far. Typically, when we have the face-to-face, it is more like a US-based attendee, given the need of travel. So, well, another surprise to me is like, well, once you open up to a virtual, we do have some other attendees from Asia, which I initially did not expect. Of course, I expect you will from Melanox to attend as usual. So as for the topic, the time limitation and topic, so we had to prioritize, and I actually would like to get the feedback from the team whether 6 topics in 3 hours is really tight. Sounds okay. Too tight.
Should we have, come up with already the next session for the next month, maybe to make sure that if there's any spillover?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Yeah, given that we have things that we cannot talk in this session and spillover, I think we should talk about the next month timing also. Yeah.
That would be a good idea. Damien, we also at Mellanox NVIDIA wanted to raise another subject, but it looks like it cannot fit the June agenda. We may just need to highlight it and talk about it in the July agenda.
Yeah,
the subject
I think
is,
I think we can keep the bin list full. I think based on the bin list, and so we know how many sessions we should target. Yeah, I think some of the thing in this list may not be able to close. For example, I think mechanical is more like initial discussion, thing up, what kind of tolerance, how to do it. But I think we still need more time in coming months. So I do expect it's more like a rolling thing. But I want to ask a comment from the team is, should we set a one particular time every month on this? Or should we do a voting every time we do it?
in my opinion, this is Elad. All these subjects are worth at least to be presented in front of the team and maybe to be worked at with a side project once we agree and vote on it, of course, but at least to be presented so the community will know, will see whatever is that these contributors are surfacing.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is definitely yes. I mean, the question is more like, do we vote on a time slot every time we have the working session, something like we do in the past, or we have a fixed time every month?
I believe that a regular meeting, not necessarily, a very long one, is something which is important to guarantee the continuity of the progress on this forum, and ad hoc longer sessions could be set once we accumulate sufficient content.
Yep. Yep. I'm thinking regular one.
It's really important to guarantee that nothing is forgotten and people are being reminded on the tasks that requires closure, and we get in sync on all the AIs so that by a given date we get ready for the next rev or whatever we set for this.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm thinking of regular one. Can we use this meeting to do that? And we also have regular SI working group and also SI, also a mechanical working group. Thermal there's not a lot of work at this time. So do you use that and then make the working session as a separate 1 hour maybe, or as a default, and then we extend when we need?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And I'll work through that. And as for the agenda, yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how can we add additional topics to the agenda, or whether this one is already locked?
For next
Yes.
week working session, I think it's already locked. I personally feel it's already tight with the time.
Okay, understand.
Yeah, but we can add it in the bin list at least to let everyone know what are things that still open that we haven't talked about. And as for next week's agenda, we'd like to cover a PCI Gen 5 budget, a short update on the mechanical fixture, a scan chain definition update or a fix that Mellanox will help to update us. And then things that we call in the spec, but we don't have a good way to measure, usually like the LED brightness. We know that at the end of last year, we keep this open. So now it's time to try to close that. And a bit more clarity on the thermal warning critical failure threshold. We do have like email chain, but I don't see we have any alignment. So it's good to have a discussion over this. And then Dell and UNHLL will show the sideband management board, which is the Savior. Savior 1 for the small form factor. What are it capable for? I think we need some alignment on what do we want to use this board for, and do we want to work on any compliance area. Long time ago, we talked about we want to have like the full compliance. We talked about we would like to have sideband measurement to make sure they meet electrical specs. But those are things that we talked so long ago. We want to see that whether they are still hold true, and this is something that whether we still want to invest time into this compliance area, or we more like provide the capability and let the team do whatever we want based on each company's preference. So I think the thing that we discussed here is more like we need alignment. Then we go for a working session. If we know what exactly is it and just sharing, I think we can do it like this kind of session, like this session.
Damien, since you already mentioned the full content, I'd like that at least in one of the future meetings we'll discuss proposal for adding some more information into the full content, mainly for reflecting different options for standby cooling. Because, for example, setting different number of active ports in standby affects the power consumption, which may affect the system level cooling requirements. And since that is not reflected today, there's kind of ambiguity on the expectations if the standby is reflecting only one port active or all ports, and in that case, really systems may require more cooling than is really needed, and we can close that gap through full info.
Yeah, if you see a need, especially then
Yeah,
it's something that we can look at, and
it's relatively
especially
simple to resolve, but it's a void, and maybe we can enhance the full content to address it.
yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, especially when we implement more and more NIC into the system, and you also get feedback from your customers. Yeah, those are areas that we want to strengthen. Yep. I intentionally keep the working session as 3 hours due to time zone consideration. Face to face we can do a full day, but virtual with time zone differences, I kept it to 3 hours. I would like to hear some feedback from the team. I think the first session we'll do it this way, but I don't hear from feedback from the team. Your thoughts on this area. Sounds okay. We break it to multiple days, but more like keeping the time short. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
Jonathan. Just wanted to input regarding mechanical key in and out fixture. I think that one, depending on what Chris has in mind, it may be a short one. So I don't know how it fell into this. So maybe at 9 a.m. sharp, if we talked about it, it may take maybe 10 or 15 minutes, because I think mainly once we agree what direction to go and who's the volunteer to take that on, right? The technical, we can work on the sideline.
Yes, that's exactly true. So yeah, Chris told me 10 minutes, so I just put 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
John, do you think you need to be slightly longer? It's kind of depending on the alignment, how it's being aligned.
Yeah, I think the main thing right now, I'm trying to find a volunteer. And I don't know if Chris has any candidate or if there's any progress on that.
Actually he did. He volunteered himself.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe because I keep asking him and he keep asking the committee and no one responds. So yeah, he volunteered or forced volunteered.
That's wonderful. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So the alignment is more like what to do. He'll be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few more items here. Yeah, I'm actually sending out email to the team and ask how much time do we need, and then I can fill it up and send out in the agenda. Actually, some of those you're actually online. Maybe I can just ask it here to hear a couple more minutes. So yeah, you will. How much time do you need to discuss the scan change?
It's about 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that little? You don't expect anyone to say no?
Yeah, because you know me, when I prepare the info, you'll have it kind of visible and kind of obvious, but the issue is what needs to be fixed.
Okay.
There is a gap of documentation in the current text and in the current diagram, and I want to fix both the text and replace the diagram to be correct.
Okay. I will put 10 to 15 minutes for now, and I'll adjust
Okay.
accordingly.
Okay.
April, how about the LED brightness methodology? How much time do you think you need for discussion?
So I probably am gonna have a meeting with a couple people on this Friday. So then I'll probably know a little bit more about how aligned we are with the methodology Intel's proposing. So I think if people are fairly supportive of what Intel has been doing, then it may be fairly short. But if it turns into a bigger discussion, which it likely will,
I do expect some discussion here because I think the reason why we couldn't close in December is because we don't have a good alignment and have different people have different opinions. So I do expect a little bit of discussion here.
Yeah.
Maybe by default, yeah. What time do you think? Just an estimate this time.
Well, maybe we could come back to that one and see how much time we have left and try to allocate it that way.
Okay.
I think this will probably be one of the more discussed ones.
Okay.
I kind of doubt we'll come with the resolution out of this working session.
Sure. Put 1 hour for now.
Sure.
Okay. And Thomas, for the threshold, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of have the same sentiments here, depending on how everyone is. I mean, I sent an email out a while ago soliciting some input, not only with my Intel hat on, but also the OCP editor hat as well. I'm just trying to get some general guidance on what is the absolute minimum requirement for servers and other NIC vendors. I know it's different for everyone, but maybe at least half hour to re-summarize and get input. But I have a feeling it may go longer.
Okay. Yeah, I think the intent is in this kind of working session is more like get alignment and discussion and people talk their input. So I think that especially if we couldn't align through email and we need to talk, I don't think it's something short also.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, my goal is not to have a hard set of values, right? Because everybody's silicon is different, but at least a guidance set for an example set of values that people can use. Not necessarily all the big vendors that generally attend the call, but let's say you have smaller vendors as well. They want to know how to set things up thermally in case they do interact with the bigger guys.
Yeah, pretty much like what I sent to you email. Yeah. I think the big guys probably don't need it. The small guy may want some guidance here. So that was the difficult part.
Right. At the end of the day, everyone's thermal solution may be different, and one could possibly ignore all the thresholds anyway, and you run your server as hot as possible. Which I know some of you do, but I'm not going to call you guys out specifically. Whereas, NIC vendors as well, we're also very cautious about how our silicon is going to behave, and we want to set thermal limits. So this is a good public general discussion, and that's the intent.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 45 minutes to an hour roughly.
Yeah.
So,
like you said before, and what you had suggested before, we could always push over if there's more discussion and we table it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, looking at this, so we only cover 4 agenda out of the 6 that for 5 agendas out of the 6 that we planned. I will check with Dell on the cyber management board. Actually, it's been there for a while. Maybe I'll try to squeeze in at least a 10-15 minutes to show like what is it and what the progress, and maybe a more discussion in the following session. I think there are some alignment also required on this one, but I think that discussion part can be the following session. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. And I'll try to massage around the timing. Okay. Anything else?
Hi, Damien. Elan here. I would like to add something for the bin list. So we are exploring cost reduction for scaling OCP3.
Oh.
And we have some ideas in mind that we would like to share.
Okay. So
that that we could share and get feedback and see how we can take that forward. If that doesn't meet the June timeframe, then probably just the next session would be okay as well.
Okay. Does it involve changing our spec in your cost reduction idea?
It may have an impact. I mean, we're looking to minimize the so of course the goal here is to cost reduce, keep the quality, and don't change the spec. What we're asking is feedback. I mean, there's going to be perhaps some BOM changes or material changes that we would like to have the team review.
Okay, yeah, I kind of see that what kind of change. If it's a cost reduction in general, yeah, everybody can do it. But if it's a cost reduction that you need a spec to change, then yeah, we definitely need that discussion.
Exactly. And so we would like to share, because we are working on cost reduction for scale. So yeah, this is what we want to keep everybody involved and in agreement.
Yep. Okay, yeah, definitely we can discuss about that and see what's the proposal and whether yeah, everyone can accept that.
Thank you, Damien.
Yep. I think I'll also start to use the tracking sheet again. Yeah. It's more like a presentation. I'll put in the tracking sheet later. Okay. Anything else? Okay. If not, then I will see you, most of you, in the working session next Tuesday.
See you then.
Yep. See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.